In a remote area, nestled among rolling hills and vast, arid plains, lay a small village where the residents found themselves in a constant struggle. The land, once fertile, had grown parched over the years, and the villagers faced persistent food shortages due to a severe lack of water for irrigation. The life-giving river that had once flowed nearby had dwindled to a mere trickle, leaving the community to rely on a distant, unreliable well. Among the families grappling with this hardship was one composed of two gentle souls, an elderly grandmother, wise and frail, and her devoted grandson, a young boy named Kanas. Their bond was the cornerstone of their small household, a quiet testament to love and resilience in the face of adversity. Kanas, though young, carried the weight of their survival on his small shoulders with a maturity far beyond his years. His days began before the first light of dawn, a silent ritual of care and responsibility. Every morning, as the sky slowly transitioned from a deep indigo to a soft, rosy hue, Kanas would rise from his modest bed. He moved with a practiced quietness, careful not to disturb his sleeping grandmother. His first task was always to prepare their morning meal. He would stoke the embers in their small clay stove, coaxing a flame to life to cook a simple porridge. The aroma, though humble, filled their small hut with a sense of warmth and normalcy. After ensuring his grandmother was awake and had eaten her share, their day's true labor would begin. Together, they would make the long journey to the fields that lay at the very edge of the village. These fields, patches of hope in a dusty landscape, were their only source of sustenance. The walk was arduous, especially for his grandmother, whose steps were slow and deliberate. Upon reaching the fields, the most challenging part of their day unfolded. They, along with the other villagers, would begin the backbreaking process of collecting water. This involved trekking even further to the community well, a deep stone-lined pit where the water level was dangerously low. Using a bucket tied to a fraying rope, Kanas would draw water, his muscles straining with each pull. He and his grandmother would then carry the heavy buckets back to their small plot of land. They would repeat this process countless times throughout the day, their movements becoming a slow, exhausting rhythm under the relentless sun. The water they managed to collect felt like precious drops, barely enough to moisten the thirsty soil around their wilting crops. They tended to the farmland with meticulous care, pulling weeds and turning the soil, pouring every ounce of their energy into the stubborn earth. Because transporting water was so time-consuming and the crops received very little, the yield was always meager, barely enough to sustain them through the seasons. Kanas watched his grandmother grow thinner, and the lines of worry on the faces of his neighbors deepened. He knew there had to be a better way to irrigate the fields. Driven by a desire to ease his grandmother's burden and help his village, he began to seek a solution. He listened to traveling merchants who passed through the region, gathering scraps of information about new technologies and innovations from the outside world. It was from one such traveler that he first heard of a remarkable invention, a pump that could draw water from deep within the earth, powered only by the sun. The idea took root in his mind, a seed of hope in the barren landscape of his worries. He knew what he had to do. With a determined heart, Kanas went to the nearest market town, a journey that took him 2 full days on foot. He had saved every small coin he had ever earned from selling the few extra vegetables they sometimes managed to grow. At the bustling market, amidst the cacophony of vendors and buyers, he searched for the device he had heard about. He found a stall run by a kind merchant who showed him a solar-powered water pump. It was a marvel of metal and glass, promising a steady flow of water with just the power of sunlight. Though it cost nearly all of his savings, Kanas knew it was a worthy investment. He carefully purchased the pump and all the necessary pipes, his mind already racing with the possibilities. He listened intently as the merchant explained how to assemble and operate it, committing every detail to memory for the important task ahead. Returning to his village, Kanas immediately got to work. He chose a spot near the old, deep well, a place where the sun shone brightest for most of the day. With the help of a few curious and hopeful neighbors, he began to set up the new equipment. He carefully assembled the solar panels, positioning them to face the sky. He connected the pipes and lowered the pump deep into the well, far below the current water level. After everything was securely in place, he held his breath and waited. As the morning sun climbed higher, its rays hit the panels, and with a soft whirry sound, the pump sprang to life. A moment later, a steady, clear stream of water gushed from the end of the pipe, splashing onto the dry, cracked earth. A cheer erupted from the small crowd that had gathered. For the first time in years, water flowed freely and effortlessly in their village. After setting it up, Kanas' work, and the work of all the villagers, became much easier. No longer did they have to spend their days hauling heavy buckets. The solar pump worked tirelessly from sunrise to sunset, delivering a consistent supply of water directly to a network of irrigation channels Kanas helped design. These channels distributed the water evenly across all the fields, ensuring that every crop received the nourishment it needed to thrive. The transformation was miraculous. The once barren plots of land turned a vibrant green. The corn stalks grew tall and strong, their ears full and heavy. The rice paddies, once dry and cracked, were now lush, watery fields that shimmered in the sunlight. The crops yielded a much larger harvest than ever before, a bounty that promised to end the long years of hunger and uncertainty. The entire village buzzed with a newfound energy and optimism. On the day of the rice harvest, the fields were a sea of golden stalks, swaying gently in the breeze. The air was filled with the joyous sounds of laughter and song as the villagers worked together, their baskets overflowing with the fruits of their labor. The harvest was so plentiful that word spread to the surrounding towns and cities. Soon, many buyers came to the village, their carts and trucks lining the dusty roads, all eager to purchase the high-quality crops. They offered fair prices, and for the first time, the villagers had a significant surplus to sell. The income they earned was more than they had ever dreamed of, allowing them to not only secure their own food supply, but also to purchase other necessities, repair their homes, and send their children to school. The village of abundant waters, as it came to be known, was no longer a place of struggle, but a symbol of prosperity and ingenuity. As a result, Kanaz's grandmother and all the farmers in the village gradually enjoyed a better standard of living.